Yeah, we can jump right into it. All right, folks, welcome to the Uncommon Cool Show. It's another episode. Got a special guest in the building, world renowned trainer, father of two-time welterweight champion, and trainer of two-time welterweight champion, Shawn Porter. We got Kenny Porter in the building, Coach Kenny Porter in the building. Y'all show him some love. We could dive right into it, Coach. I want to get into your background real quick because, I was reading some things about how you grew up. And you grew up in the Cleveland or Akron area.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. So
Yeah.
with you growing up in a tough neighborhood, tough circumstances as a kid, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, do you ever look back on your life and look now on the things that you've done and accomplished and be like, man, I'm not even supposed to be here when you think about how you grew up?
I've said that 1,000 times, more than 1,000 times. I said that hundreds of thousands of times. I say that every day. I said it yesterday. I said it today when I was at the Mayweather gym and I walked in and Floyd said, Kenny, and I said, hey, what's up? And then he hollered my name a couple of times. He said, how you doing? I said, I'm good, man. And then I just couldn't stop there. I said, I'm blessed. I'm humble. I'm thankful. I'm appreciative that I'm here. You
Right,
know, Stay here. I don't mean in the Mayweather gym. I mean that I'm alive,
right.
because of, circumstances and situations that I was put into, I had no control over. But let
Mhm.
me back up for a second. How did you get any information? What did you find out? What you find out?
I read a couple stories or whatever, and
Uh-huh.
I saw you mentioned some of the early trauma that you kind of saw as a kid with you and
Mhm.
your brother,
Yeah, yeah,
your
yeah,
mother, things like that. And
yeah.
those things, a lot of people, what it'll be hard for a lot of people to make it through that. You know what I'm saying? To get to where you are at this point in your life and stuff like that. It'd be tough for people to get through that.
I'm going to tell you, right now, I don't believe that anybody else could have pulled it off.
Right.
I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I guess I should brag because I'm still alive. I'm here. So,
Yeah, I hear you on
I'm
that.
thankful again to be able to say that. And literally right now, even though we right here, you know what I'm saying? Um, I just got to get down on my knees and say thank you.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
And I just have to do that, man,
Right.
because you touching on it a little bit actually take me back there, right?
Right.
So, um, without getting too deep in it, I lost my brother at a young age. I
Right.
was
Right.
with
Right.
him when he lost his life.
Right.
So, I look back over things like that and I say, this kid never got a chance to learn his ABCs.
Right.
He never got a chance to learn how to count.
Right.
He never got a chance to go to school.
Right.
He didn't have any chances at anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was left to deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
to walk the same walk that he would have been walking, that he should have been walking with me, but I had to walk it by myself.
Right.
And I was always looking for him. So yeah, that question that you just asked about, do I ever say that? I say that every day. I've
Right.
said that for um, so many instances and so many times in my life that I've spoke that same exact thing. Like, I'm thankful to even still be alive. I've
Right.
never been to prison.
Right.
I've never done drugs. I've never drank alcohol. I've never gambled. I've never
Right.
been involved with any of these kind of activities. But all of those things is what I was born into.
Right.
All of that.
Right.
And a lot of people don't survive it. And a lot of people that I knew who were around me did not survive it.
Right.
There's a lady that I was talking to last night because, we're working on a book that was started a couple of years ago, but it
Right.
wasn't started with her. It was started with me and someone else.
Mm.
And then after, they put after we got the first chapter together, They asked me to proofread it. Dude, I proofread the chapter and I was like, that's it. I can't do no more of this. I put it down.
Right.
I couldn't even do it because to be able to read that, actually read it, put me right back in it. You know? Yeah. So, yeah, again, I'm thankful. I'm humbled. I'm appreciative. God chose me to live this life. And, you know, somebody said, and this is off subject, but still on the same subject because we're talking about boxing and we're talking about life.
Right.
While I was at Mayweather's gym today, I had one of my fighters with me, a young kid that I got over here from the Dominican Republic. I've actually adopted him.
Right. Okay.
Even though he's a young adult, you know.
Right. Gotcha.
In order to get that immigration and all that, I had to bring him in here under me. So when you look at his passport and everything, it's got my name in it.
Right.
So a guy says, "Oh, you got some other fighters that you've been working with." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, we was trying to get in touch with you because we want you to, you know, Tank Davis is here and he wanted to spar some of you guys." I said, "Okay, well, you know, have him get in touch with me." And he said, "Man, somebody told me you got really lucky and found this fighter over in the DR, right?" And I kind of like, yeah, I got a kid from the DR. And I didn't say no more than that, but then I thought about it in my mind. When somebody said the other day, "Hey, good luck to your fighters this weekend." I don't believe in luck.
Right.
We don't put all this work in, this preparation, this time, this energy, this focus, mentally, physically, emotionally, nutritionally. We're balanced, spiritually, we're balanced all across the board. We deserve everything that we're about to get when we walk to that ring, right? I've been doing this since my 31st year. 2021 makes 31 years for me of doing boxing nonstop without walking away from it. I'm not lucky to get a boxer from the DR and bring him over here and train him. That's not luck. That's all the time and energy and good works that I've done over the years. All of the amateurs that I worked with and all the Olympic teams that I was involved with and all the guys that I did, everything that I did with, that led me to the point where I'm at right now, that got me to the point where I am right here, sitting in front of all of these belts that you see right here.
Absolutely.
That's not luck.
Right.
It's not luck.
Right.
But I didn't think about it. I didn't say it out loud when the guy said it. He said, "Man, you got really lucky. I heard you got you really good fighter." It's not luck. See, because if I hadn't done all that work that I've done all these years, I wouldn't have been able to afford, first of all, to take that trip over to the DR.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Just to be able to afford it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Which, you know, put me in a position to do the things that I'm doing. So it's by the grace of God, I'm thankful.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's something, you know, we kind of talking about it in a boxing way right now because, you know, that's your background and things like that. But yeah, I think that's something a lot of people can apply to their lives just in general. You do good things in your life, you work hard, you know, things that happen for you the way they supposed to happen. So, you know, definitely. And
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Coach, you mentioned being in this thing 31 years. You are in the Akron Boxing Hall of Fame, you know, and I want to take you kind of to that when that happened for you. You know, how was that being inducted into a Hall of Fame? Because that's a big deal wherever you at, wherever, whatever city, it don't matter what part of the world you had to be inducted into a Hall of Fame is a pretty big deal. How was that for you?
Okay, so we're gonna touch on some of the same things again. Anything and everything that I'm doing, man, is only by the grace of God that I'm doing this, right?
Absolutely.
So, to be inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame, 2015. I had to double check. That's what that says. 2015. 2014 and 2013, they contacted me,
Right.
asking me to go into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And I said, nah, I'm not, I'm not really interested in that, right? I'm not really interested in doing that. And they said, why not? I said, well, I don't feel that anybody has to say thank you or anybody has to, I don't need anybody to clap or to tell me I did something good for kids. Whatever I did for kids, I did it because I love kids.
Right.
Don't need anybody to say good job, Kenny. Don't
Right.
need anybody to say, oh man, that was nice what you did there. I don't need that. So I didn't. When they asked, I nicely and politely found a way not to take that flight.
Right.
And they came back the next year and, they sent me a ballot where my name was chosen again and wanted me to come. And I didn't respond to that. And then the 2015, I got a phone call and they said, Kenny, you know that fighter that you trained, Jason Duffy? I said, yeah. Jason. They said, well, Jason killed himself. I said, yeah, I know Jason. I knew that one of my fighters had, he died by his own hands. He said, well, we're inducting him into the Hall of Fame. We don't have any pictures of him. We don't know all the different people that he fought and things like that. And, you have all that information. Can you send us articles? Can you send us any pictures of him? I said, yeah, I'll send you everything I have. And they said, we're inducting him into the Hall of Fame again. I mean, we're inducting him into the Hall of Fame posthumously, and we want to bring you into the Hall of Fame. Would you introduce him, and speak on his behalf to go into the Hall of Fame? And then that's when I was touched in a totally different way.
Right.
Because now it wasn't about me anymore. It was about the kids that I had worked with. And this was one of them. This was one of those kids. And then it turned into this huge thing, man. It turned into this huge thing. We moved it from the little place it was supposed to be to a big place called Gears in Akron, which is right down the street from LeBron James High School. He went to St. Vincent St. Mary.
Right.
It's, a well-known place, prestigious place. And then it went from that to his parents contacted me saying, hey, we have Jason's ashes. And Jason was a world traveler.
Right.
After he got out of college, he did a lot of traveling to different countries. And he said, different places that Jason has gone to, we take the ashes there and we drop them in remembrance of him. Okay. We would like to come to the Hall of Fame. This is mom, dad, brothers contacting me on this.
Right.
We'd like to come to the Hall of Fame and put some outside of the Hall of Fame. So it turned into a whole nother level of a Hall of Fame that day.
Right.
When I got up there and spoke on his behalf, and then they, the mom and the dad went outside and put his ashes out there, man. It was a whole different deal. So for me, it was exactly what God wanted it to be, the way he wanted it to be. It was never about me.
Right.
It was never about me. It was always about the kids. And that was the very reason why I would never say yes to it, because I just felt like I don't need anybody to say, hey man, you did something good for a kid. That was nice of you. No, I just do that because that's from my heart.
Right.
And that's who I am. So that loss that we spoke of earlier, that's how I was able to overcome that by always looking out for somebody else's kids, looking out for other kids when I was growing up.
Right. Absolutely. It's deep. It's deep.
Yeah, it's deep, man.
Yeah.
It is. It's very deep, brother. I can't make this stuff up. And think about this for a second, because I'm just a believer in God, and I just know by His strength and His grace. That's the only reason I'm spared. My life is spared to be here. But think about this for a second. even as early back as that time when I lost my brother, when I wasn't even 5 years old yet.
Mm-hmm.
God knew that this day was going to happen right here today, and we'd be having this conversation this many years later about this exact same thing, and all the things that have happened and transpired between from between the time that happened to this day right here.
Right.
You know, all of those things, and I never had a clue, man, but I listened, and I tried to speak the words he wanted me to speak. I try to live a good life, you know.
Right.
And I've been blessed because of it. And I worked hard, as we already alluded to. So it's not luck.
Right.
It's hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Being dedicated and focused on something, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's crazy because I think I read somewhere too that Shawn had actually said, you know, that God brought you to this point in your life. Like it would, like you didn't have, you know, a book that you read to get to where you were, or you didn't have nobody you could look to try to figure it out, or whatever it took to get to where you were now. He said that, hey, it was God that brought him here and brought us here to where we are now.
Absolutely. And I'll say this because I've said it lots of times. I didn't have a father.
Right.
So I never had a father.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always had a father.
Absolutely.
You see? So I'm thankful also that my son listened to the things that I was saying to him as he was growing up, not just about boxing or just about school, what he should be doing, you know, when he's going to school and how he should be studying and grades he needs to get.
Right.
Or just about how he should, you know, maneuver and move in the world, you know, in the streets, on his way to school, around his friends, things like not just those things, but he also took on a lot of ideologies that I have in approaching life, and then also my belief in God. So we took him to church at a young age. And if I call Shawn right now and I say, hey, you know, I got this feeling about something God put on my heart, he gonna shut down anything and everything he's doing.
Absolutely.
If he on TV calling the fight, he's calling that fight, but probably sending me a text saying, listen, as soon as it's over, I'm gonna call you back.
Absolutely.
You know, did I call the accident that we were talking about earlier? Did I call that? No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I woke up that morning praying for that person who I hadn't seen in 6 months. Right? 4:30 in the morning, praying that person, repeatedly praying, couldn't stop. Right? Then I did something I've never done as long as I've known the person. Son came up, jumped in my car, and went to see them.
Right.
Drove about 22 miles.
Right.
Had a conversation with them that lasted a good 45 minutes plus, saying, hey, things are going on. I don't know what it is. I got this feeling. I've been praying. I woke up praying for you. And I just feel that, you know, we need to be aware of what's going on around us. And the person thought that it was about me.
Right.
They thought that I was about to tell them I was sick or something was wrong with me. And so they wasn't taking the information that I was trying to give. And I'm not, God doesn't say to me, son, this is what's going to happen. Watch out for this and that. That doesn't happen.
Right.
These things like that. No, nothing like that. But there's things that show me and reveal to me in a spiritual way that I will stop and say, wait a minute, hold still. Let me be still. Let me just be quiet. Let me sit tight. Let me pray. Let me get prayed up. Let me, you know. And so I've been like that for the last 4 months, like really, really strong. I knew something was going on, right? And then when Shawn caught the COVID, I thought, well, maybe that was what it was.
Right.
You know, and then I was like, okay, I'm good with this. not good, but I can deal
Right,
with this.
right, right,
I've
right,
been trained up, right?
right.
And later on, I get that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
That same night, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That same person, that same night.
Yeah.
I can't make that up,
Yeah, that's crazy.
right?
That's
And I'm
crazy.
gonna tell you what's really crazy. They don't believe, and so
You're
they'll
right.
continue with the same behavior.
You're right.
They'll
You're right.
continue with the same behavior. But I believe, and so I will sit still,
Right.
like I am right now. And even though you and I are doing an interview and we're talking, and you're feeling that we're talking, and maybe we're not on the sports and we're off somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
need to understand about that is this: it's also again making me know that he is in control of things,
Right.
and I need to be careful, and I need to be obedient to those feelings, obedient to those thoughts, those things that may tell me something is going on, whatever
Right.
that might be, you know. And
Right.
so here, sitting in this chair that I never sit in, this is probably only the second time I sat in this chair
Mm-hmm.
this year. Nobody's ate at this table, you know. I'm very cognizant of the fact that I have to be, I have to be alert and watching and listening to everything that's going on, you
Right.
know. So a lot of people don't understand those things. It's not for me to press it, push it. I'm not that person. I don't do that. Hey, you need to come to church with me, or hey, you need to read the. I'm not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But what my son said, he understands. He believes that, and so I do too. And yes, what he said, God got me here. Absolutely. My son was born. I'm talking about Shawn Porter.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in a very bad neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
The street that he was born on one end of the street, was drugs and alcohol. They're selling drugs and alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of stuff. Other end of the street is gangsters, pimps, and prostitutes. So when he got up to an age to start going to school, if he lived there, if he went left, it was all bad. If he went to the right, it was all bad. Wherever he was going to be at,
Mm-hmm.
it was going to be all bad.
Mm-hmm.
But God put it in my heart to go to his mom. He was still in diapers, and I said, God told me a man's supposed to raise his sons.
Right.
I can't make that up, dude.
Right.
I can't
Right.
make that up.
Right.
All right, I
Right.
just can't make that up. So when I'm sitting in the bed at 2 o'clock in the morning with a little baby sitting next to me, saying, "Oh man, why I go tell this girl I wanted this
Right.
baby?
Right. Right.
Why I tell this girl I want this baby? I got to leave work at 6, and he crying. It's 2, and I need some sleep. Right?
Right.
I can't make this up when I say, well, I can't complain. This is what God told me, so this is what I got to do.
Right. Right.
And we
Absolutely.
look up. Then we look up so many years later, and it's not just about boxing, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not, truly isn't. But
Right.
we look up so many years later, and the success of everything we've done because we believe and we worked hard at it, and we believe we have that faith in God, and we worked hard at it. It paid off.
Right. Right.
There's
Right.
been lots of times I've said to my son, I said, you need to give your mom a call. It's her birthday.
Right.
He's like, oh yeah. I'm gonna get. And I can't make this up, man. And
Mm-hmm.
again, that him,
Right.
yeah, boxes, but the person that he is, that was another one of the blessings that God gave me.
Right. Right.
To have somebody like that in my life.
Right.
He's known for a long time that he's been my best friend for a
Right.
long time.
Right. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a good segue into you and Sean's relationship because I feel that I can see that when I see you guys together, whether it's training, whether it's during a fight, whatever the case may be. I feel like you guys' relationship is different in the sense that it pertains to like parent child relationships in sports. I feel like you and Shawn have like this spiritual connection between each other that it's obvious to tell if you're into that type of thing. It's obvious to tell when you guys are together, whether it's you see clips of you guys training, whether you see clips of you guys in the ring before Shawn actually fights and after a fight. Like I see like a connection between you guys. It's like it's different. It's not like an ordinary father son relationship, coach son relationship that you see these days. That's one of the things I kind of do notice about you too.
I've heard that from other people, and it made me feel good.
Hmm. Absolutely.
It makes
Absolutely.
me feel good because that means that they're seeing beyond the actual sport or the two people competing in the ring. They're actually seeing something past that.
Right.
So I got a call one time from one of the Charlo brothers.
Hmm.
And I first had them in a camp when they were 14 years old.
Right.
Trust me, they was bad boys way back then. These
Oh,
boys,
I could imagine. I could
they,
imagine.
they was something else even then. You knew that they was gonna be great. But
Right.
I got a call from one of them, and he told me, he said, "I need to talk to you, coach." I said, "Sure."
Hmm.
This is they're world champions now.
Right.
This is they're world champions.
Absolutely.
And he says, I don't have the best relationship, with my dad.
Hmm.
He said, and I was trying to talk to him and get some things out, and just, I don't want to get into no deep stuff like
Right.
that,
Right.
but
Right. Right. Right.
it
Right.
was like a lot of young men or, young women with their parents, you get uncomfortable when you're trying to talk to them about some things that may
Right.
be going on in your life and trying to better your relationship with them. And he said he really couldn't find the words.
Hmm.
So what he did was he turned to a Kenny and Shawn Porter fight, went to the beginning of it when Shawn and I are getting ready to fight, and he said, "Look, this is what we need right here. You
Right.
and I, this is what we need." And he was showing me and Shawn praying together,
Right.
and he said, "This is what we need right here," you know. And then he told me that it helped them immensely,
Right.
you know. And so whenever I see him anywhere, him and I will pray together, talk, different things like that, So um, it makes me really feel good when somebody is able to see beyond the outer layer of what's going on instead of the rah rah and oh look at them, look how they fighting and what's going on and all this kind of thing. Like somebody's able to see past that and see that there's something else going on there
Right.
that um, is real.
Right.
You know, it's real. And somebody even asked me as recent as last week, it's like, what are you guys doing when you got your head together like that? What are you doing? And I said, I really can't put it into words,
Right.
but it's that thing that you're talking about.
Right. Right.
That thing
Right.
that you're saying, I see something is
Yeah.
different.
You can
No,
see.
something else is
Yeah.
happening right here, right? You're
Right.
different. And I don't know. Maybe when this is all over with, we put our heads together and say, "Hey, you feel something?"
Right.
So there's something going on. What's going on with us right now? What's about to happen? Because I don't know, man. It's like people really don't, and it's not for me. Again, I'm not the person to tell people how they should live their life. I believe that everybody should have the free will to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do.
Right,
You know,
right,
I had a lady not too long ago asked me in a bar, and she, I ain't hanging in no bars, but I'm in an area,
I got you.
a restaurant bar area, right? And she said, you should turn up. Let's get a drink. And I said, I don't drink. She said, well, how you gonna turn up? I said, I don't need to turn up.
Right.
She said, well, why don't you drink? And I said, because it serves me well.
Right.
And she says, what do you mean it serves you well? And I said, well, without getting into any details or anything like that.
Right.
I said, but I've never not been able to function and figure things out and be in control of everything around me in my entire life. I've always been able to be in control of everything.
Right.
All times.
Right.
And being able to be successful because of it. Mm-hmm. So that's the short version, but there's so many people that I've known and come in contact with as a kid and young adult that, let all those things overtake them and they never made it in their lives to where they wanted to go.
Right.
Some of them, lots of them aren't even alive anymore.
Right. Absolutely. And Coach, just to get a little bit deeper into you and Shawn's relationship, I want to take you through 3 fights, Coach. So, the first fight that Shawn ever won his first title, the IBF title, and his second, not fight, but fight that he won a world championship was a WBC, and then to the Arrow fight where he headlined his first pay-per-view. Through all 3 of those fights, how were each of those experiences for you guys going through each one of those fights? Was it kind of different going through those camps? Obviously, it's different circumstances on the line. It's title fights, unifications, all types of things on the line, pay-per-view. Was it a different experience each one of those 3 fights?
It's a great question. And I'm not saying that's a great question because that's the thing that most people would say at this point. I'm saying it's a great question because you actually took me back to all those instances.
Right.
And I never have been asked those questions of any of them in the manner you just asked.
Right.
And as I had to actually, balance it out, think about it, and take myself to that. They were all different. Right. Preparation for every fight was different. Circumstances and things that were going on in our lives were totally different.
Right.
The adversities that we had to deal with leading up to the fights were different. Unbelievably different. And I count them all to God as great experiences that I've had with my son. And each fight was different. Win, lose, or draw. In those 2 situations, we won 2 and didn't get a decision on the third. I like the way you posed the question to me because you didn't mention the outcome at all.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. But no. But let me say this: as far as the first one is concerned, him winning his first world title, I expected it. Right. So, when I used to coach football and guys used to score touchdowns, we used to always say when I was a younger coach and had older coaches over me, I wasn't a head coach when I first started coaching football. Right. So I was like an assistant for about 3-4 years, three seasons or whatever, 4 seasons before I got my own team. He used to always say, and they used to always say, act like you've been in the end zone before.
Right.
You scored a touchdown before.
Right. Yeah.
And all this.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, right? And so the first time Shawn scored a touchdown, He breaks about, I don't know, could be 50, 60-yard touchdown. He's gone. He's flying. He scores a touchdown. He did some kind of dance in the end zone, ball and everything. Yelled at him. I yelled at him, screamed at him, yelled at him, don't do that. You don't do that.
Right.
And after that, all through high school, he scored a lot of touchdowns in high school. He just gave the referee the ball, or gave the judge the ball, or just put the ball down. That was it for him, And until he fought Paulie Malignaggi in the pros, and he puts Paulie through the ropes. And at the time, LeBron was doing this little dance he used to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I know you're talking. Yeah.
Right? I had never seen it before. Didn't know what it was. Paulie's laid out, falling out the ring on the judge's table, and Shawn starts doing this thing with the kid. And I yelled at him. I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You don't do that. Stop!" And he was in motion, right? And he was in motion doing this thing, and I yelled at him, and I probably took away all the fun of winning the fight for him when I yelled at him about that, But yeah, each fight was different. Each fight's circumstances was different. The adversities that we had to deal with leading up to the fights were different. And people don't notice. They don't notice about boxing. They just turn on the TV and they think, okay, there they go. They've been training. Yeah, they ready. All right, let's go. Let's fight. But you wouldn't know that Shawn broke his hand 6 weeks before the Danny Garcia fight. Not only did he break his hand, but the fight was supposed to be called off. Not only did he break his hand, fight was supposed to be called off, but I was able to get him to the Lakers doctor on a phone call, jumped in my car that day and that morning and took off to see the Lakers doctor, and they performed surgery on him. He wore a cast for the entire camp. Never used the hand until fight night.
Wow.
Nobody would ever know that kind of stuff. Nobody would ever know those type of things. You don't know the things that fighters go through to get up in that ring that night. Some of the things that happen along the way. Same thing with the Devin Alexander fight. Whole different deal right there as well. Shawn actually supposed to fight that fight with Devin. It could have been 4 months prior to that. And the call came for the fight, and Shawn was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found at that point in time, and we had to get him back in, in line and everything. So we missed it. Somebody else fought the kid, and he beat, the kid beat him, and we got Shawn back to where we needed him to be, and then he fought the guy and he won that first belt. But again, nobody would have known just by turning that on that there was something going on where Shawn was in my head. Well, he was supposed to be training and getting ready for this, Errol Spence fight, whole different deal, whole different set of circumstances and pay-per-view and everything else on the line. And, you deal with so many different things. And no matter what was said at the end of the fight, with the judges scoring, who they gave the decision to, or what happened, who you thought won, or somebody else thought, people thought Shawn won, or other people thought it could have been a draw, other people, Errol blew him out. Errol's man. Errol's our boy, My kid was safe. He didn't have to go to the hospital that night. He wasn't cut. He wasn't bloody. He wasn't hurt in any kind of way. And the check that he was supposed to receive for that fight stayed the same. Even though he didn't get a victory, the check stayed the same. If you understand what I'm saying.
I hear you on that one.
So He came out still a winner.
Absolutely.
He was still a winner. So, you know, we would love to have the opportunity. If you listen to Errol, we want that again. Let's get it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people are you know,
They're gonna buy
enjoy
it.
the rematch.
And then what's so funny about that is they know, you know, Errol know they're gonna buy it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll buy that one. They'll buy that one.
So why aren't you trying to do
Hey,
it?
you
Why aren't
know,
you trying to do it? Why are you not accepting that challenge? But anyway, you know,
yeah. That.
hopefully it happens. You know, hopefully we get that one and also Bud Crawford, Terrence Crawford.
Okay, yeah. And I kind of want to segue into that. Are there any? Do you and Shawn have any plans for you guys' next fight? It is Terrence Crawford an option because a lot of people over the past 5-6 months or so have been clamoring for a Shawn Porter Bud Crawford matchup. They think that'll be a nice little matchup for the boxing fans to
It's a
see.
great fight. It's a great fight for boxing. I'm not saying that because he's my boxer. I'm saying that because it definitely would be.
Right.
The styles are different.
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen, you know, Terrence in a fight where he was really under any kind of pressure. He's pretty much been able to handle the guys that he's fought easily.
Right.
Every level, everybody he fights, he pretty much finishes them off, beats them, you know, with not a lot of rough stuff going on. You know, he's not in a fight like Errol was in a fight for his life.
Right.
You know, he got a decision. He was in a fight for his life. You know, one judge gave us 8 rounds. Said Errol only won 4. Right. So you know, we was doing our thing too. So yeah, that's a great fight for the fans, and people want to see what happens when Terrence is under that kind of pressure. What happens when he's dealing with a fighter that is relentless like Shawn? But as we speak right now, we've done everything we could so far to try to get that fight. They're not responding to it. Makes sense. They don't want that. That same scenario that we were just talking about, that kind of pressure. They don't want that. Makes sense. Right. We are planning on training and preparing for a fight this summer.
Right.
And we could be talking within, you know, us back in the ring within the next 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay. Cool.
Announcements coming. Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, got you. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, Coach. I saw, RIP to a legend, but RIP to Marvin Hagler. I see that you know, you took that very hard with the relationship that you had with him and you guys had with him, you and Shawn had with him. You know, how did that kind of affect you when you first heard that?
How did it affect me?
Yeah, how did when you
Yeah, man,
first got the
that one
news?
hit me hard. It hit me hard, and I wasn't really able to. It was one of those situations when somebody passes and you don't believe it, you know. And it took me back to a lot of things that we had done with him. The very first time we met him, you know, Shawn was, you know, being a fan.
Right.
I was being a father, you know, like, yeah, this is my son, right? He was being a fan, like, hey, you Marvin Hagler. He's like, I know exactly who you are. You my favorite fighter. He told Shawn that, and Shawn was like, you hear what he said? Like, yeah, I heard what he said, Shawn. You know, and so yeah, it was it hurt a lot, man, because we've had breakfast with that guy, we've had lunch with that guy, we've had dinner with that guy, we've ran with that guy, we've hung out with him, we've ridden bikes with him, and it's a great loss to not only the boxing world but to the world itself. A great loss to his family, no less.
Right.
Because of COVID and the way things are, man, I've never even seen anything else about it. I just knew that he was gone, so I posted some pictures about that. And within that same week to less than 2 weeks, Tony Harrison lost his dad, I believe, and John Molina lost his dad.
Right.
3 people that were involved with boxing closely, and 2 of them being fathers of and coaches of their own sons, and that touched me from that standpoint as
Right.
well.
Absolutely. And coach, to move on to one last thing I got for you. How do you deal with critics? You know what I'm saying? Everybody has something to say when they see a father and son relationship, or a parent coach daughter son relationship in sports. Everybody has something to say, from left, from right, from up top, down bottom. Everybody has something to say about how you coach your son, or they shouldn't be doing this, they should be doing this. uh you know what's best. Obviously, your son, what he responds to, what he doesn't respond to. How do you deal with critics, especially in the sport of boxing, where people feel like you should be moving a certain way with Shawn, and Shawn should be doing this, why is he doing that, and everything that comes with that sport? How do you react to critics?
And what you just said, that's true. About you know, I should be doing this, or Shawn should be doing that, or you know, um, and I've seen stuff. Kenny can't coach. Kenny don't know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He better coach. I made my son a millionaire. What did you do with yours?
Talk that talk, coach.
Kenny don't know nothing about boxing. Kenny didn't do this. Kenny didn't do that. My son won 2 world championships. What with yours? Shawn need a new coach. I got my son a deal with Fox and a deal with NBC. He's a sports reporter for both of them. He doesn't take any punches when he calls fights. So the last thing I'll say about the critics, not one of them, not one. Let me give him a drum roll. Has ever walked up to me and said, "Hey, Kenny, I don't like the way you coaching Shawn," or "I don't like what you said to Shawn," or "I don't like what you." Not one of them.
Right.
Not one. Right? Not one. On the other side of that, I get a lot of them. Obviously, before the COVID guy, I got a lot of them. "Hey, man, can I take a picture with you?
Yeah.
Can I take a picture with you and Shawn?"
Right.
"Oh, man, y'all great, man. I love to see y'all in the ring. I love this. I love that." Man. Is he one of them guys that be? No, I guess today he isn't. But those kind of things. I had one guy yell at me one time in a grocery store, but he wasn't being mean. But he said something that someone was saying on the internet, being mean towards me. This person was,
Right.
and he just said it from a funny standpoint of
Yeah.
show. He wasn't trying to be mean to me at all.
Right.
And I stopped the dude. I said, "What did you just call me?" And he said, "Oh, I heard that on the show." I said, "Look, man, that ain't my name. My name is Kenny Porter." And I stuck my hand out and I shook his hand, right?
Right.
I have this little thing that I do when I shake a person's hand, when I tell them my name, when I feel a certain way, I actually hold on to it and won't let it go. And I said, "Look, man, if you ever want to talk to me, say hello to me, anything like that, address me as who I am. And what is your name?" And he told me his name. I said, "That's what I'm going to call you when I see you."
Right.
Man, me and that dude been friends now for about 3 years. He live in a totally different state. He's over in California in the Oakland area. And we text and call each other all the time. Father's Day.
Right.
birthdays, everything else. So, that's the only thing I have to say to the critics. Like, what have you done for yours? And if you a father, a real father, you will know you ain't got no time to be worried about nobody else. If you trying to keep yours in line and make sure yours is successful, you don't have time to be concerned or worried about what someone else is doing with their child or not doing with them, and whatever might be going on with them.
Absolutely.
Because I was doing this, well before it came on TV.
Right.
As I said, this is my 31st year.
Mm-hmm.
And after 30 years, I retired. Actually, after 30 years, I never put it out there,
formally retired. Yeah, I got
it. Shawn, I'm done with this, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to work with you. And that's all I've been doing was working with Shawn. But now God has blessed me, man. I've got 3 sets of brothers.
Mm-hmm.
2 brothers from Kansas City, Marcel and Marcus Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
2 brothers from Macon, Georgia, Malik and Mikhail Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 brothers that I adopted from the Dominican Republic that took me over 6 months to get them here. One is here and the other one is on the Olympic team, so he's still laying back to go to the games.
Right.
It's Hendry Martinez and Erie Martinez. And God blessed me with those brothers, man. And me losing mine at such a young age and all of them coming to me at one time from all these different places all over the world. That's God.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I can't make that up.
Absolutely.
No way I could have searched that out on the internet and say, hey, I'm looking for brothers.
Right. Yeah.
Box and want no. It didn't happen that way, dude.
Absolutely.
They came. Yeah. Now it's up for me to help them realize their full potential and get them as far as I can get them to be successful, not only in the ring, but in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I told all of them, you are accountable for your brother. You are your brother's.
Absolutely.
You got to take care of your brother. And that's the same thing I taught my sons when they were growing up. I raised 2 boys as a single father. And I taught them all the time, always love your brother.
Absolutely.
Always take care of your brother. And that was from the time they started walking, they were taught that,
Absolutely.
Up until now.
Absolutely. Coach, speaking, you did mention are you doing anything with the Olympics next year with boxing or anything like that, or you kicking back and chilling?
I'm not going back to that. I was on the 2012 Olympic team. I was a technical coach for that team. That was the team that Errol was on.
Right.
I was actually Errol's head coach in Russia, and I was also coaching Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
That was well before him and Shawn ever fought. But I was coach.
Yeah, I know you guys had a little history with.
I've worked with. Yeah, and what I'm doing now is with these young men that I mentioned, and that's it for me. I'll never go back to the Olympics. But my son just got chose to call the Olympics for NBC. So I mean, this is unbelievable, man. This journey that we're on, and again, it's all gifts from God.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And Coach, that's about all I got for you, man. Like I said, I appreciate
Well, I'm glad that's all you got, because my phone is saying wait a minute, it's saying, you only got a minute or two and we're gonna be done.